kind of like the start of a mini tier where you have these guys listed as close AGA, which means they're close to getting their aces gonna ace tag. We
Yeah.
got a lot of questions on this guy's second year in a row, maybe for you, where you've been asked, why are you so low on Blake Snell?
I'm very much around these 20s here. I think actually even from like 15 to 35 is its own little glob of just which ones do you like the most? Do you want to go for more safety? Do you want to go for more risks? Do you want to go for understanding that Blake Snell likely isn't going to be the same pitcher we just saw in April and May, but then probably be something completely different in the second half? And what was so weird about Blake Snell was you want to say, oh, every single year he just figures it out. And he had the signing last year that was delayed and messed him up. And then we had 6 games before the second half. But he also succeeded in a way that was different than previous years. We've had seasons where he couldn't throw a fastball for a strike lane. Finally, he adjusted it. His slider was gone and he found it. His changeup all of a sudden showed up. And this one was the curveball, where the curveball all of a sudden became this massive strike pitch that he can throw in the zone. I've never seen him do that. In
Yeah.
2023, when he had his absurd 120 ERA stretch, it was a fastball changeup as really the impetus, with the breakers helping out but not being the
Right.
thing. And to see the curveball become all of a sudden the major weapon. So I guess I'm at a point of know how good he is when he does pitch. He hasn't gone more than 180 innings more than once since his Cy Young run in 2018, which is nuts.
Mhm.
Um, and I also know that he probably won't be good in April and May, and I'm gonna have to deal with that headache. However, yeah, he's really good. He's really
Yes.
good. He's gonna have a normal spring training, and this is the best bet, I think, for Blake Snell to be comfortably amazing for a full year. So I upped my ranking because it's all very close there. I said, fine, this is the highest ceiling
Mhm.
of the lot.
I did a couple adjustments post first pitch Arizona, and I
Right.
moved him to 20th because
Mm,
to me, I have Joe Ryan 19 and Blake
sure.
Snell 20. And for me, they're the top two of these like elite SP2 ish guys where like
Yeah.
I think the floor is a little too low for me to put them above the guys who I think are like in my low end ace tier, but also like I feel pretty good that I'm always going to get something solid. Like that's like your kind of Luis Castillo-y type where I never feel like the floor is really gonna fall out from underneath me. When I get to like the Joe Ryan, Blake Snell area, I'm like, I'm not doubting the upside, but I'm also just saying like if I had a month where I just got a 6 ERA from those guys, it wouldn't shock me. And
Yeah,
yes,
sure.
they may then go ahead and right the ship, but there's a little more volatility. I like what you said about the succeeding in different ways because it really just comes down to your personal preference, right? You could look at that and say, well, that tells me he has lots of different weapons, and so I believe that maybe that gives him the ability to adjust when he doesn't have his best stuff. Or you could look at it in the same way that like you talked a lot about Cutter Crawford this year when he was pitching really well, and that's not to say Blake Snell is Cutter Crawford, but the idea that when you don't have the like this is what I do and I'm really good at it and this is the pitch that's going to get me there, what happens if then those pitches don't work and they none of them work at the same time and you don't have that thing to rely on? We saw the floor get brutally low for Cutter Crawford. We've seen it get like that for Snell in the past and he recovers, but what if it's another one of those seasons where
Yeah.
he puts up a low 4 ERA, which he
Right,
has done in the
it's
past?
such a tightrope of what he does, of preventing hard contact